Welcome to the Arthropologist. Art for All Mississippi was established in 2001 with just 8 students providing opportunities for adults with disabilities to participate in the arts. Today, its numbers have grown to over 40. Initially, classes were only 2 hours once a week, but now it has grown to 3 full days per week. This organization offers professional art instruction and guidance in a variety of techniques by both teaching and visiting artists, as well as offering tours of museums and galleries to observe master works. Some of its students have been with the program for over 10 years, and several have gone on to become successful professional artists in their own right with gallery representation. This program meets both the social as well as the educational needs of its students. My guest today is the executive director, teaching artist, janitor, and picture framer for Art for All Mississippi, Tom Harmon. Hey, Tom, how are you doing?
Hey, Bill, I'm doing great today. Good to see you.
You too. Trying to do gallery. Yeah, we can do side by side for just a second. Okay, I have introduced everyone to the program a little bit, but why don't you go ahead and really fill everyone in on your program and who you are and why you got started with it.
Thank you, Bill. I'd be glad to. Like Bill said, my name is Tom Harmon, and I'm the executive director of Art for All Mississippi. And I became involved in this program back in the year 2000 after I moved back to Mississippi from Washington State. I was at the VA Medical Center one day and saw a notice on the board that they were putting together a group of artists, and about that time I was just a beginning artist. So I went to one of the meetings, and it was a joint effort between VSA and VA Medical Center to provide some art opportunities to veterans. Within 6 months, the money dried up from the VA, and since the program was so successful, VSA decided to pick up the tab and form a community art group. When that happened, I became the instructor. So I'm a beginning artist teaching a group of 8 veterans. So, the day before the class, I'd be studying, and then I would teach the next day. And that went on for quite a while, and when you become a teacher, you always become a much better artist because the pressure's on you to learn. And the group went on for 3 or 4 years at about 8 to 12 people, being supported by VSA. We do focus our efforts on people with disabilities. And if you would see our group, you would wonder, well, what disabilities does this person have? Well, there are such things as hidden disabilities. A lot of the mental illnesses are a hidden disability. You don't see the person in a wheelchair or with a service dog, but they have disabilities nevertheless. Right. So that's what we've done. And we then kept building our group and got up to about 30, and we outgrew our little space in Fondren. And about that time, the Mississippi Museum of Art moved over to their new building, and space became available in the Art Center of Mississippi, which is in downtown Jackson. And it's a beautiful facility, and we have a large studio, and storage space, and office space. And now we have a class size of around 37 to 40 students, participants that are signed up. Now, we've been talking about what are we going to do when our studio opens back up, when we can go back to work. And I'm sure we're going to have to do social distancing for a while. So we're going to be reducing our class size to 10 per session. But we're going to work through this and make our projects available during the coronavirus and aftermaths.
You've talked about that you do have some students who have some mental disabilities possibly. Is that even more difficult for them, the social distancing, that they may take it a lot harder than certain other people would?
It depends on the nature of their illness. We've had some people with mental illness that automatically did social distancing. They didn't like to be near anyone else. They, had a big personal space that they stayed away. Others with certain types of mental disabilities love the community, the camaraderie that goes on between people and the closeness. So this being gone for 6 weeks has really affected a lot of our artists, because this is their one time during the week or 2 times during the week that they really get to socialize with people that they love and understand, and who understands and accepts them for who they are. And so that's why we want to get back into business.
Right. Can you share with us some of your success stories? I know I read that you've had 3 go on to become professional artists. So tell us a little bit about those who came in and maybe were having some difficulties, and then you've helped them to progress on.
Well, I'm sure that a lot of listeners and viewers will recognize the name Ros Roy when I mention it. But Rosalind Roy, a young lady, joined our group back around in the early days, say 2002. And at that time, she was doing computer drawings, using that very basic word or drawing program, where you could make circles and boxes and fill them in with different colors. So that's what Ros Roy was doing. And she came to us, and I was able to get her off the computer and get her into drawing and painting. And she's made quite a name for herself. She does small sculptures using Fimo clay, and does a lot of drawings and sells original works. She has her own studio in the same building that we vacated in Fondren. So that's one of our success stories. Ros has gone on to be a self-supporting artist. She teaches workshops and classes to others with disabilities. And we're so proud of her. Another one of our artists was a fellow. Did you have a question, Bill?
No, you go ahead.
And another one of our success stories is a fellow named Derek Perkins. He had a major heart attack. And when he recovered, his heart surgeon said, "Derek, whatever you wanted to do in your life, you better do it now, because, you're getting, the next one may be finishing you off." So he said he wanted to be a painter and record the images of his childhood growing up in Mississippi. And he's done that and written a book called Rabbit Road. And he's painted 40 or 50 paintings that represent that. And he's had several one-man exhibitions and sells his work. He just does wonderful work. We're really proud to have Derek as one of our practicing artists.
Well, we've been talking about all these wonderful students and their work. Have you got where you can screen share with us and show us some of their work?
I sure do. I'm going to take you through some of those. And this is a work by one of our artists named Bill Coleman. And he has a vision disability. His eyes aren't parallel. One looks over his right shoulder. So he's basically a one-eyed painter. And just this last year, thank goodness, he was able to get surgery and realign his eyes. So he's been getting used to that. But this is a wonderful little oil painting he did. We just love it. And then I was telling you about Derek Perkins, our painter that wrote the book Rabbit Road. This is one of his paintings. You see the style that he uses, very colorful paintings, illustrates images from his childhood. This is a scene of our classroom. We received some new students this year from some group homes. Willowwood Developmental Center, sending a few students, and that's and Sun Valley is another center that is participating in our group classes. This is a picture from our studio. You can see students' paintings hanging on the wall. Well, this last year we participated in an art battle at the Mississippi Art Museum, and I made it into the finals. And me and this other gentleman had to paint self-portraits. And I'm holding his portrait and he's holding mine. And unfortunately for me, I lost. He won. He got I think $1,000. And
Oh,
I
wow.
got $500 as a runner-up. And I donated that money back to our art group because they support me so well. I want to support them. That was
I'm digging that beret.
Yeah, that's quite a beret. Well, I thought, I'm going to be a painter. I'm going to act like a painter with that beret. This is a painting by one of our students, Sarah Ayers. She's in her early 30s now, and she was born with a developmental disability. And she loves coming to our art class, and we've figured out some techniques for her to use. So we cut some bristles off of her brush, and she can use it almost like a stencil brush. So that's great. That works good for her. And she's just a joy to have in class. This is another quick painting by Bill Coleman. He's learning. He's doing a great job, I think. We have another student named Angie, and she got fascinated with Lady Liberty this last year and did some beautiful paintings. I happen to be the proud owner of this painting. It's hanging in the place of honor over my fireplace. But we just love her work, and she's a veteran with disabilities. And this little donkey that just popped up on the screen is from one of my teaching artists, Carolyn Switzer, and she just does some great paintings, great little, just beautifully detailed paintings. And she owns goats out in the country, and so she's very familiar with the little wildlife. This is done by an 80-year-old gentleman who had a stroke, and he had been an artist off and on his entire life, and so he had to learn all over again using his left hand. And this is kind of a multimedia work with a little watercolor and a little pastel, but he's doing just wonderful. He's enjoying it so much. And this is Carolyn Switzer with one of her customers who bought this pastel during our recent exhibit and show at the Art Center. And this young man is Lavernon Perry. And we thought as a project last year, we were going to do self-portraits. So Lavernon loves to work in pastel and charcoal. So he did this self-portrait of himself. And we had all the self-portraits on exhibit. He also loves to do things relating to Jackson State. So this is one of his paintings in acrylic of the sonic boom getting ready to perform. We have Terry Turman, who is a paranoid schizophrenic, and he started coming about 8 years ago at the urging of his cousin, who was a member. And when Terry finally got the courage to come, it was the first time he had actually left his house without his wife and gone out in public for over 8 years. So after a few sessions, not too long, he got the courage to try to take public transportation. He was taking the J-Tran bus back and forth to art class. That's how strong the artistic pull is on people with disabilities. They can overcome some of those disabilities and those fears by participating in a group such as this. And his skill is amazing. He is really doing a great job. This is a painting by a man, Demetrius Williams. He did a great job on this. It's a very loose painting. It takes a while to teach our students to not paint so many details. If you can understand what I'm saying, Bill, when we first start painting, we think we have to have every blade of grass and every detail in the painting. But actually, sometimes just big shapes and colors work just as well. We have a young man named Jason Robbins who started doing these, and they became very popular. He has since moved on to Dallas, Texas. We wish he'd come back. This man is named Arthur Green, and he likes to paint local scenes. And this is a little scene that he's painted from his imagination, maybe Jackson and people walking their dogs, and very colorful. He enjoys coming. This is a drawing by Carolyn Switzer, one of our teaching artists, and this is really a wonderful pencil drawing, I think. It's just really captured a lot of detail and emotion in that. And she entered it in the Vicksburg art group's exhibit and only got a second place. First place was really good. This is from one of my students, Freddie Wright, who has a developmental disability. He's been coming for years, and he specialized for years in Prismacolor pencils and just drawing sports figures. And we got him interested in doing some pastel and looking at some of the old masters' masterworks, and started copying some masterworks and learning how to use pastel. And he is really catching on. I'm so proud of him. He's done a great job here. We had a sidewalk chalk art around the art center this last summer, and a lot of our artists participated. And this is a chalk painting by Carrie Roebuck, one of our teaching artists. And her role model is Van Gogh, as you can tell. And this was just that was a huge thing. It was like 6 feet wide and 5 feet tall. Chalk on the concrete.
I want to interject something just so our viewers will be able to know, depending on how I have to cut this. You've been naming names. Is it okay that they're
Yes.
okay? All right. Just wanted to be sure, because if I was going to be bleeping, I wanted to let people know why I was bleeping names.
No, all of our students have signed a photo release, so to speak.
Okay. Well, and I think, I mean, absolutely, we want to appreciate and observe people's privacy, but I think it's so important that names and faces go with this work, and people realize, like the gentleman you were talking about that was the paranoid schizophrenic,
Right.
that was, I think you said he'd shut himself off for like 8 years.
That's right.
And through your program, he was able to come back out and participate in society. And that's incredible.
It is. It really is. In his early days, he would wear a hat pulled down low and his collar turned up, and and dark sunglasses. His face was just hidden. But now he's one of our go-getting students. He's great. You can see Freddie. He's way back in the back corner there in the yellow plaid shirt. He's back there. He's got his own little table, and he sits back there and does all his work. This is a drawing class that we were teaching this last year. Kent Viverette, if you shopped at Kroger in Ridgeland, you might have seen him. He helped out there. Him and his wife both attend. Here's our clay expert and teaching artist, Carrie Roebuck, working with Terry Turman, one of our students, on making some clay objects. And here's a view of our studio and doing some teaching on drawing. One of our students making a little goat out of clay. And here's a photograph of all of the students that were able to participate in the art exhibit at the Municipal Art Gallery. And everybody's so proud they've got red ribbons at it. We gave everybody an award. Here's some photos from that art exhibit. There's nautical scenes. And here's that big Lady Liberty in the dining room with the beautiful flower arrangement. This is our new logo, Art for All Mississippi. We developed that to show interconnection between all of our artists, and we used the primary colors to show that we're all primarily artists. It doesn't matter what color we are, we interconnect with each other. A little watercolor by a guy named Tom Harmon.
Oh, wow.
And this is a pastel by a fellow named Mike Duke. Mike Duke was an art major at Alabama, and as a lot of senior students do, they do a little cutting up. And one night he was cutting up with some of his students when he was 20 years old, and somehow or another he got ejected from the back of a pickup truck and hit his head. He was in a coma for several months and eventually recovered from that. He has a traumatic brain injury, and
wow.
So he has a lot of art knowledge in his head. His problem is getting it to transfer to his fingers. So we've got him started using pastels, and he is mastering that. As you can see, he recently, in the Goodwill statewide exhibition, he won a second place award in the non-professional division and a cash award of $250. Mike Duke is now 65 years old, and he's been coming to our program for about 15 years. He's recently moved into assisted living with his mother.
You really work with some challenging people. You've got some real hurdles you have to overcome with people with, sometimes it seems like, very profound disabilities that they have to learn how to get around and to overcome with your help.
Absolutely. We focus on their strengths, and if a person cannot physically do something, I'm not going to keep making them try to do that. We can find out what they can physically do and then work on that and integrate that into their artwork. So when Mike was first coming, he was trying to paint in acrylics, and since he had very bad muscle control and hand-eye coordination, he thought if he painted on a big canvas with acrylic, that would be the answer. Well, it isn't, because acrylic dries too fast, and just because you have a big canvas, it becomes frustrating. So we transferred him over to pastel, and now he doesn't have to worry about mixing paints or colors. They're all right there in the box.
I appreciate how profound the stories were that you were telling about your students and just how important this program is. Can you give the listeners some information about how they could contact you if they wanted to volunteer or donate or help out in any way?
I'd be glad to. The kind of help that I need right now is like an administrative assistant. I have some wonderful teaching artists, and with small group to teaching us. If you get too many cooks in there, you spoil the soup. Too many
Right.
different teachers are telling too many different things. But we can also use somebody to help keep our website up, or do Facebook or social, help do publications. We're also always looking for donations, not only of money, but of art supplies, unused art supplies. Somebody has too many of something, we can take it. And our website is the same as our name. It's artforallms.com. And we also have a Facebook page of the same name. So you can reach us that way. And our contact numbers are on our website and on our Facebook page.
Well, fantastic. And I'll actually put those on this video when we wrap this up so that everybody can see it. So,
All right.
Tom, I thank you so much for being on the show. Good luck, and you take care, okay?
Well, we certainly appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today, Bill. See you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode of The Arthropologist, please hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more episodes like this, think about subscribing. I'm Bill Wilson, and I'm The Arthropologist.